Hi guys, it's Matt with Thrive Off Grid. Alright, so I'm going to go over fuel processing, and we're going to build a fuel dryer today. But first I want to go over the our kiln. This is our kiln, our CFK 20 kiln kit. Now when you buy the kit, it basically just comes with that stand, the burner support, and the grate and the grate tool. And then you'll have some hardware for this hook, because this is for your tool. We got a tool similar to this, and that's so that you can remove this lid because it's going to be hot, so you can lift that off. Alright, so what you have to supply is some barrels. So this outer barrel is a 30-gallon drum, 19-inch diameter. The center barrel is the 16-gallon, which is basically the same drum that we use for the hopper on the DXF10. And then you'll need a 20-gallon, 19-inch diameter drum, and that's your catch barrel. And you'll need a lid for that, and you'll need a lid for the center drum. This top drum, it doesn't matter. You don't have to use drums. You could have a local metal shop roll these for you, but you do need a lid for the center, because this works like a T-lid stove. Instead of wasting the gas, we recycle the gas to heat itself. So this kiln is very, very efficient. Okay, I got that off. All right, so how this works. All right, well, yeah, I should go over. We did fabricate this ourselves. This is something that we built, but these holes are about 6 inches from the bottom to here, so roughly 6 to 8 inches. Probably you want to probably stick around 6 inches, and you just want to use a 1.5 inch hole saw and cut even about 12 holes around the barrel evenly. And what those are for, that's to allow the pyrolysis gas to escape as the fuel is becoming charcoal. And then down inside there is a grate, and that's a very passive grate, as you can see. Now basically you're going to put fuel like that in there, and that'll support that. And yeah, you want it passive, so that as the fuel becomes brittle, as it's reduced to charcoal, it'll bust up and fall through the grate. Okay. Now what you can do is you can layer chips in there, and then layer more of this fuel on top of the chips. And then as that lower fuel breaks and busts through the grate, so will the chips, and you'll be able to rapidly produce charcoal this way. All right. So basically you're going to have combustion there, and you're going to have your combustion source coming up through the grate, and then gases produced from this chamber. Mind you, this lid will be placed on here so that gases cannot escape out the top, so they're forced to come out those vents. And then this is fresh air intake for this combustion process. So this is a second stage combustion process on the outside. So if you got good dry fuel, this thing will sound like a rocket, right? So this is kind of like a T-lid, but reverse. We're feeding in air here instead of at the top and letting it burn across the top. We're actually combusting it down below, so that heat is applied to the hopper. Now you can insulate this outer drum, which you probably should. It'll make it more efficient. And then something else I should go over is your catch bin. Alright, so this does require a lift, some kind of lift mechanism like this. It's a motorcycle ATV jack. So that fits under there. Now in this version, just kind of cradles the drum. Right, so that keeps this seals this so that embers can't come flying out of it. The new version is going to be just the opposite. This ring will actually fit inside the drum, and then these leg mounts will be a rest for the top barrel. So we're going to change that design just a little bit, but other than that, this thing actually works pretty good. So we're not gonna, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So yeah, once you're full, you lower this down, and then this gives you clearance for putting your lid on. And then what I like to do is I like to put it back under there and just raise it up, and that helps seal the drum. Plus it helps cut off the oxygen to this. If there's any leftover fuel in there, it can't drop out to the ground. It'll have to fall on the lid. So it's kind of a safety thing, but yeah, so that's our kiln. Alright, so moving on. Alright, so I'm gonna go over something with the DFX10 or DXF10. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Alright, so this is a cross fuel gasifier. This can run on both charcoal and wood chips. Now, there's two modes that this can be set up as. Now, in the mode right now, I have the restriction plate installed, and you can run charcoal in this mode. However, because there's a restriction there, your flows won't be as good as it would without it. But it's required to run wood fuel. You cannot run wood fuel without the restriction. Charcoal, on the other hand, you can run in either with it or without it. With it, you're going to produce less potent gas because of the flow restrictions, and you may produce clinkers. And if those are formed, they'll clog the restriction up, and then you'll have to dig those out of the unit. So basically, you got to flip the thing on its back and dig down deep inside there and get them out. All right, so to alleviate that issue, you can remove the restriction plate, and that basically makes that wide open so the clinkers can go straight to the grate. And then this, I did change the design so that the grate is actually more serviceable. Basically, it's on a shaft now, because we're going to automate this, so I'm going to set it up so that it's already automation ready. So it's going to have a center shaft, and then there's a lock collar inside there, and you just loosen that lock collar and you can slide the grate completely down to the bottom and drop the entire reduction. So all those clinkers and stuff you can clean out. Alright, so we're going to move on. Alright, so we're going to build a fuel dryer for wood chips. Rather than laying these out on the concrete. This is kind of an issue because if you get an unexpected rain, you know, your day's worth of drying are shot. You'll have to start all over. So, and plus it takes forever because it only dries the top. As you can see, I got them spread out really thin, but if I kick these around, they're wet underneath. You can see the concrete's wet. So we want to build a more effective method to dry. So that's what we're going to do here. So I got some screen here, some caster wheels, some angle iron, and some zip ties, and a 55-gallon drum with removable lid. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these angles inside first before I cut anything, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the midsection and replace that with a screen. But before I cut this out, I'm going to weld these angle brackets on the inside, and that'll maintain the center of the ends of the drum. Alright guys, so bear with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these angles in here at four points perpendicular to each other. All right. Once I have them welded in, then I'm going to cut out the center. I'll probably go like maybe 6 inches or so from each end. So I'll probably cut it right there in that line, all the way around, and then zip it down the center. And then I'm going to wrap it with the screen here. Use the zip ties to fasten it to the angles that I weld in there. And then if you wanted to, you could actually cut some bands out of this leftover center piece and cap off the ends of the screen, and then bolt that on there for extra integrity. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start this project, and I'll show you what I come up with. All right, guys, so I got my supports all welded in. I just wanted to say, you don't have to be a welder to build this. You can bolt those in just as easily. Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, they all have this steel rack. It's usually by the duct work, heating and cooling stuff. They sell a prefabricated angle that you can buy that's already got holes already punched into it. That would work perfect for this. And then instead of doing it how I did it, you just lay one edge flat with the barrel and bolt it. All right, so now for the fun part, I got to cut that midsection out. So basically, you know, I want this to overlap a couple inches, the screen here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll install the screen. All right, guys, so I went and cut the midsection out of the unit. I made a couple boo-boos with my weld, so I had to cut those out and then cut the leftovers out once I had that removed, and then I had to do some rewelding, but we got it. So basically all I did is I used zip ties to secure the screen, and I put 3 on every post except for the seam. I added a few additional there to add some integrity. I had just enough screen. I mean, just enough. I mean, it barely overlaps. So I got lucky. Yeah. But yeah, it's got some integrity. It's only floppy because it's not sitting flat. Okay, so now the next part. So I'm gonna build a rotisserie. Actually, this could work as a dryer just as is, but I'm gonna add a rotisserie feature. I got some casters here just from, I don't know where they actually came from, but they've just been laying around waiting for a project, and this is it. So what I'm gonna build is a platform that will go on my new wheelbarrow. All right, so I'm gonna mount the casters on here, and then this handy thing's got like a little lifting plate, so it works like a hand cart. So the idea is going to be I'll put those rollers on there, and I'll be able to lay it flat and be able to roll it to cycle it to expedite the drying process. And then when I need to fill it, I'll stand it up with this, fill it, and then lay it on its stand, and then it'll collect all the dust that goes in my compost. So yeah, this should be a pretty neat little system. I was gonna automate it, but I don't know if I'm gonna need to even do that. And then this here is my charcoal screen. Actually, I'd use it for chips as well. This clinker that I showed you earlier, that is from dirty chips. See those dry chips in the back there? It was all full of sand, and I converted that to charcoal. But the silica will clink up. So Yeah, so that's why you if you got dirty peel like that, you're definitely gonna want to run that, convert that to charcoal mode only. Um, but if you have clean charcoal, you can run charcoal in it in wood gas mode. All right, so I'm gonna go get started on building this cradle thing, and then we'll come back and show you the finished product. All right, guys. So I got the cradle built. So real simple, just a frame with those casters on there. I don't like the swivel. I wish they were the solid ones, but it's what I got, so making it work. Alright, so let's give this a whirl. So I'm going to start out with it on its side. Hopefully the wind don't blow the camera down. And then when I get it, when I start filling it up, then I'm going to set it on its bottom. So these chips look dry, right? Them chips are soaked. Probably good. Don't know that you want to overfill it. So let's see if this works. Alright. So it looks like I might want to support it. Alright, well, that is it. I guess it's not a big deal. I can deal with the support. So what's kind of cool is I'll be able to bring this over by the generator and I can heat that up with the exhaust. Just blow the exhaust on it. It's fairly stable. So the exhaust is right there, and then it'll just blow on there. I don't have to worry about the moisture. It's just gonna supply some heat to it. All right, guys. All right. Thanks for watching.